It's the Ringside Wranglers Wrestling Report with your host, Haz-Bin and Jack Jaw.
What's up, wrestling fans? This is the biggest weekend in professional wrestling. Not as exciting as it normally is, but it's still exciting to us at the Ringside Wrangler Wrestling Report. This week with the Haz-Bin, we're going to be running down the latest card as advised from the WWE on what's going on in WrestleMania tonight and tomorrow night. We don't have what's going on tonight. We don't have what's going on tomorrow night. We just know what's going on overall. It'll be a surprise to us what happens each night. We're also going to run down what's going on in the AEW, and we're also going to do a little spotlight on our local wrestling, independent wrestling, Wrestling 225. So what's up, Haz-Bin? What you excited about tonight?
Well, you know something, brother. I just don't feel it. It's pre-recorded. I don't even know if I'm going to watch it tonight, to be honest with you. I mean, I know it's going to be available on the network. I can watch it when I want. I cannot believe I'm actually saying this, but I don't really know if I'm going to watch it tonight. Instead, I got this little beauty in today from Amazon.com. It's called Jim Ross Black Hat, his new book that came out. And I'm probably going to read some quality time with that because the show's been pre-recorded. You know, I'm sorry, man. I just don't feel the excitement. They didn't do the Hall of Fame ceremony. Not to my knowledge, they didn't do it. I tried to see if I could find that. It's just everything. It's just not the same anymore. And God, I hate to say this, but I just don't feel like I'm interested. Jeez, did he really say that? Are you sick? Did you get tested for this virus or something? What the hell's wrong with you, man? Hey, bro. I'm just being honest. One thing that we pride ourselves on this podcast is being honest, okay? And the honesty is I don't feel it. I just don't feel it's pre-recorded. Half the stuff's already been said, it's been leaked out, and it's like, where's the element of excitement at? I'm sorry, man.
It's gonna be good.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, Mr. Jaw, and all of our loyal fans and listeners and viewers. I'm sorry to disappoint, but and look, don't get me wrong, I'm not leading the AEW bandwagon by any reason, okay? I'm just saying, because they're in the same boat too. I just don't feel it.
Yeah, it ought to be. I think because they kept the card kind of shuffling around and not confirming who was in, who was out. You don't know what's going to happen tonight. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow night. You'll tune in just for that. But like you said, you got to have your book there because there'll be probably some times you're going to probably read the book. It'll be interesting to see how they get some kind of, something away from the empty arena type show. You know, if they do it outside, what kind of noises they pipe in. So it ought to be interesting either way. I'm still seeing it. And look,
a common friend. Yeah, a common friend of mine and yours both told us that it's not the same thing whenever you watch it recorded. They always want to watch it live because you always show the replay of it, but when you watch it live, it's like the element of surprise bit. There is no element of surprise. And they're going to offer the thing all through the week, and it'll be probably reloaded up for playback later tonight, even though they're going to redo it again tomorrow. So it's like there's no urgency, no sense of urgency for me when I want to watch this tonight, which really pains me and breaks my heart to say it. But like the young men like we're seeing on our screen right now, those guys, they're the ones that I care about right now because they're busting their hump and making it happen. So that's just where I'm staying.
We may have a surprise guest later on in the show. That right there is Korey, Konstantine, none other than the Pro Wrestling 225 heavyweight champion. On to the next one, Punk. What we wanted to do is run down the card for WrestleMania tonight as we know it right now. So we're going to start at the top. We don't know if this is the main event. It should be the main event, but you never can tell when they're going to show this. And we're going, hey, what's up now, man? What's up now? Now what exactly when you find out these different wrestlers are falling off? So-and-so's not wrestling. So-and-so's not wrestling. This guy's fighting for the title now. You're like, what? How are they going to put the belt on him? Whatever. It's all going down tonight and tomorrow. First up, what we think is the main event, you got right there, the Beast Incarnate versus the Scottish Claymore kicker. Is that what you call him?
Yeah, the Scottish Claymore kick. Brock Lesnar reportedly makes $10 million a year for the WWE. He's the highest paid athlete in the business, according to reports, not confirmed. But that ain't going to do him any good because the word on the street is Mr. McIntyre is going to walk away with that belt, and rightfully so.
I thought it was crazy. You know, a couple weeks ago when they were showing WrestleMania 30, which was like 6-7 years ago, and they had Drew McIntyre on there in that in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal match. How much smaller he looked then. He was just real tall and way smaller than he is now. So either way, it's his time. They're going to put it on Drew McIntyre. Next up, we don't know if this is the main event or not. Probably not. This is where Roman Reigns had to fall off due to his compromised immune system with leukemia. So Braun Strowman jumps in, and now Braun Strowman's fighting Goldberg. I say Braun Strowman wins this. Goldberg's not in for the long haul. He's just doing this for a small little tidbit of entertainment, I guess. So
yeah, he's another one. He's another one that's like in the top 5 for the 10 highest paid athletes in WWE. So he's not hurting for the money at all. If the original plan was going to be to have McIntyre and Roman Reigns each get belts, in other words, there'd be a double title change, then there's no reason why Braun Strowman shouldn't go ahead and keep that in place. Go ahead and let Drew McIntyre win the Universal Championship, and there's no reason why Braun shouldn't win the world title as well. It wouldn't be Roman doing it; it'd be Braun, and then they could have a Braun-Roman feud whenever Roman gets healthy again, or whenever all this passes away, and they shouldn't lose any sleep over it. That's just my opinion.
Yep. Next up, you got John Cena versus the Fiend Bray Wyatt. I say no way, no way loses this, no way. What you think?
I thought Cena's promo Friday night, last night, if you will, was very powerful. He definitely is he shocked me because he's definitely one of the better, if not the best talker in the business since Ric Flair is not doing it anymore. But I mean, his message was definitely sent across loud and clear. And if Cena were to win, which I think he will, that's really going to hurt the Fiend, because hasn't he lost a couple already? And now he's going to continue losing like this. That's going to be kind of rough.
Yeah,
but
he lost Goldberg last time, and man, he loses this. It may be time for who knows what. Who knows? Another story. I don't see any way the Fiend loses. I mean, he needs to keep his mystique going. Plus, John Cena ought to be an entertaining match. Again, we need some noise because his matches require the noise and the environment and the darkness and all that kind of stuff. So I'm thinking that they're probably going to alternate nights with the dark matches that will occur at nighttime. So I'm thinking this one possibly be a nighttime, not in the studio type deal. Who knows?
If you pipe in noise for this pay-per-view, that is going to ultimately insult every single wrestling fan on the planet Earth. I'll just leave it like that.
You never get tell. Either way, they're going to have some kind of distraction from just two guys in a ring with a referee. Next up, you got a match that I'm looking forward to. It's been built for the last 3 months. Last man standing match, Edge and Randy Orton. Did I jump to that one? Did I jump?
Yeah, you jump.
Boneyard.
We're on the Boneyard.
That's right. That's a match that they called it Boneyard because I didn't think they wanted to call it Graveyard because of the implications with what's going on in the world today. So who knows? I would say AJ Styles probably wins this.
I don't know. From what I heard, Undertaker gave him props and said he did really good, and he appreciated him giving 100% because with the circumstance going on. So the way the Undertaker talked, in my opinion, looks like Undertaker went over in the match. Maybe he did. It should be a good match to go. Read on our notes that our guest is on hold. We want to try and go to him, or we want to get back in contact with him.
What's up, Punk? Punk, can you switch over? Hey, I think we got Korey Konstantine.
I think we're going to go to Korey right now.
Korey is on.
So what's happening, Korey?
Hey, how we doing, guys?
All right. So I am Jack Jaw, and we've got the Haz-Bin here. We do this weekly show. We like independence. We've been to a couple of your shows. We went to the show back in January. We didn't make it the night that you won the title against Gil Gracie. Our boy Haz-Bin, he's been following you a lot longer, so I'll let him go into what's going on with us.
All right, sounds good.
Korey, thank you for coming on the program. Really appreciate it. It's an honor to have you. I've been following the local independent scene for a long, long time. Did the radio shows and the Hotline Report back in the day with the Advocate and then talk radio and all. And I've been a big advocate of the local independent scene. And you guys, particularly 225, with me being a Plaquemine homeboy, if you will, makes me proud to be able to come on events like this, social media, and put you guys over. It means so much to me. Tell us a little bit about how you got started with everything.
Man, story kind of is just like a lot of everybody else, right? I mean, you start out as a kid and you're just a big fan. Then for some people, it just kind of goes off, and for other people, it stays strong in their heart. And that's kind of where I was, so really around like 10, 11 years old, I remember telling my mom, I'm going to do this. And she was like, nah, you're too small and blah, blah, blah. Here we are. So, moved to Kentucky, went through OVW, got my initial training there, came back down, started working shows. And then, the rest is kind of history. Bounced around a lot all over Louisiana, and probably going to be making a move before too long to either maybe Georgia or Florida, just to kind of continue that and better opportunities, better training, better connections. So that's what we're looking for.
And Korey, everybody knows Georgia and Florida from the NWA days, Georgia Championship Wrestling, Florida with Dusty Rhodes and the group. I mean, that's a hotbed. Always has been a hotbed. Always will be. It really makes me proud to hear you talk how you did your career, because obviously right now in this trying times that we're in, we can't do things out in public and all. So last night, much like everybody else, I pulled out one of Daniel Bryan's old books that he did, and he talked about his independent days and how he started, and he had to break, sleeping in the car and all, and having to go to Shawn Michaels school. And then when I see young men like yourself go out there and make these things happen, you're a living proof of what these guys did, and you're going to be the future of what this business is. And that's why we're so glad to put folks like you over, because you certainly deserve it. You've earned your dues. Right.
Yeah. I mean, I've been paying my dues for a while. There's people who's told me that I haven't. I can tell you that. I mean, in the last 6 months, I've slept in my car at least 3 or 4 times, just making towns and coming back. So, I'm really putting in the effort. I'm striving for this, man. This is everything I've always wanted, and I'm not ready to give it up. So.
That's cool, man.
So, Jack John, I've been talking. What is your thoughts on tonight, tomorrow night? What's going through your mind? How do you think this is going to go over? Because a lot of the folks that we've been talking to, and what we've been saying these past few weeks, this is going to be a very obviously trying times, or trying times rather. Don't know what's going to happen, but what's your thought on this from a professional wrestling standpoint? What's going through your brain?
Oh man, honestly, I'm wishing them nothing but the best, quite frankly. I mean, this is unprecedented. This is uncharted territories. There's no live crowd. That's a whole different aspect unto itself, because I mean that's fundamental to what wrestling is, right? I mean, it's interaction with the crowd and things like that. So to have nobody in there, I mean, just to watch the shows that have been going on in the past, you're thinking WrestleMania, you're thinking extravaganza, big things, right? Pyro, tons of pyro. I don't think there's going to be any pyro, in the performance center. The roof's 25 feet tall, 30 maybe.
Yeah.
Can't really get much off there. Yeah. So maybe Goldberg gets his sparks from the ceiling, and that's about it.
Jack, we had talked about having Korey on, and if you guys, what's your future looking like right now in terms of like future shows? That we're seeing you in action right now, putting a nice little move on somebody's feeling your pain. What's it going to be like for you guys in the future? Any anticipated return date or anything? Because what we've been saying over the past few weeks is if you have the technology or the logistics to be able to do something like this arena event thing, if it can be done so, we would be more than glad to help you do it, because we've been doing this since day one. That's all we want to do is help out.
Right. I've gotten nothing from anybody right now. I mean, even as much as training and things like that, that's even shut down. So I don't know. I mean, tentatively, maybe late May, but it's extremely, extremely, extremely tentative. So there's no telling at this point. I personally would be okay with doing similar to what, I saw that somewhere in maybe Texas or Colorado or something. They did an empty venue show. I think yesterday they filmed. So, I mean, obviously it's there. I know that for Elevate Pro, at least, we have that capability. We have essentially an empty gym. If we can keep it within the regulations and shoot a few matches here and there. I don't know about as far as live broadcasts go. I'm not sure if we have that quite yet, but that would be something that I would be interested in for sure. It's better than nothing, to say nothing else.
Exactly, because Jack and I, we both know, and Lord knows you know this, that in the wrestling business, if you're not seen and you're not talked about and you're not heard, that's a death knell. You got to keep being noticed, either television or social media or radio, whatever. If you don't get that acknowledgement, you don't get keep being refreshed, if you will, like a computer and your cell phone. You got to update them so often. You guys don't get updated, you get lost. That's not fair to you. This was not your fault. It's nobody else's fault. That's the whole reason why we wanted to do things like this. Now, the one thing we love about the independent shows is we were talking some stories. I remember one time I went to a show in Houma with at the East Park Center, which everybody knows that place, and I was sitting second row behind this gentleman, must have been around, I don't know, 89, 90 years old, God bless him. And the referee, I guess his role was to have the heel turn on the face at the very end with the screw job Dusty Rhodes finish. And when he did that, this guy literally jumped up. His veins were popping out of his skull. I thought the guy was going to have a heart attack. I swear to God, I did. And that's the only thing I really remembered about that night was the fan intervention. The way that the crowd at these independent shows is a lot different than when you see on AEW and WWE. With that being said, can you give us an example or two of some of the favorite moments you had intervening with the crowd, positive or negative, that you can recall?
I remember, man, this was 2013, maybe something like that. Sunset, Louisiana, in the Sunset Arena. It was one of Rodney Mac's shows back in the day. And dude, when I tell you, like, kids dropping words and stuff that I'd never even heard, that definitely stuck out. As far as other crowd interactions, I mean, that most recent one with Gil Gracie, that was pretty overwhelming. Between that and the Super Gold Rumble, you had both of those happen, and then the crowd was just red hot for it. The Gil Gracie match, they were beating on the tables. I mean, the whole place was rumbling. It was surreal. So I would say probably those two are ones that kind of stick out. Just kids having no limits whatsoever, and then about the highest of the highest.
I can recall, Jack, remember we talked about in the past with the Four Horsemen and the Mid-South days we really like, and the Texas World Class and things of that sort. Those guys used to talk about how they would sometimes get stab wounds and knife wounds walking to and from the arena, just to the ring from the dressing room. Had to get state police and county sheriff's office to come and escort them in and out. You ever had any issues like that before, to that extreme? No,
not to that extreme. I remember that, I can't remember exactly which show it was, but I was on one show that I don't want to say we had to fight our way out, but we definitely had some threats that were going to some other wrestlers or whatever. So we had to kind of walk each other to our cars to make sure that everybody got out all right. But I mean, back in those days, if you didn't cause a riot, you didn't have a good show. So it was a totally different time back then.
That's the thing. I can recall we did a show one time, and with me being from Plaquemine, I always grew up. That town was always hot for wrestling. Way back when I was a young boy, I grew up. That's the whole reason why I wanted to do that stuff. But not just Plaquemine, Denham Springs, Baton Rouge area, etc., and even South Louisiana for that. Like Mid-South, pretty much did that. But I can recall one time in the first show we did in Plaquemine, it was I think the Nasty Boys were taking on Public Enemy, I believe, and they tore the whole building down. I mean, we weren't even allowed to go to that Civic Center anymore because they tore up chairs and tables, and the people were like stomping in the bleachers, and it was just this feeling. And I know you know this, being a professional wrestler, the fans, we just can only imagine what it's like. But you get that feeling of like, this is the most awesome thing in the world to see this, because you were the direct responsibility while all that happened. Oh yeah, it was either it works or don't work, and you made it happen.
Yep. And that's what I was going back to. I mean, that Gil Gracie thing, stomping on the bleachers, banging on the tables, everything. Literally, the building was rumbling. You'll see whenever they release that footage. I think they released a little bit of it, but it was surreal, man. It was definitely surreal. I mean, going back to those Mid-South days, I mean, my grandma used to work at the Centraplex back in the day. That was the Baton Rouge. I guess now it's the River Center. And she used to tell me, all the time about, the wrestling used to be there, and then, my wife's family and all that. They used to talk about how they used to go see, her mom and all that, between Junkyard Dog and Ted DiBiase and all of them. Like, so, I mean, they grew up with it too. So it's really cool for them to kind of come full circle. And then, they were coming to my shows and stuff like that. So that's cool.
In professional wrestling in the South, Mid-South, Florida, Georgia, Texas, and I hate them because you got Tennessee and Arkansas and everywhere else. I mean, pretty much the whole area of Oklahoma, but I'm a big fan of Mid-South. Louisiana, born and bred boy, this is what it is. Texas had a lot to do with world class, Dallas area, San Antonio with Tully Blanchard and Shawn Michaels, and you go to Florida with the Dusty and those guys. Alabama with your Midnight Express and guys like that up in northern Alabama. Yeah. It's great. Yeah, it's great up there. So the whole independent scene is just awesome. And Jack, I'm sorry, I got carried away with my radio days doing these interviews. You have anything you want to talk to Korey about?
Oh no, I've just been listening, man. You got it going.
Yeah, I went in the radio mode back in the days past, and it just clicked and things like that. what is the future looking like for you guys, Korey, in terms like whenever you get back up and running again, when all this foolishness ends, and it will end someday, God willing, whenever all this gets gone and you get back and running again, what's the future gonna be like? What you guys got planned?
Dude, I'm hitting the ground running. Anything and everything I can do to make an impact. I mean, you know, it's kind of a blessing and a curse, I guess, when it comes to professional wrestling, you know, if you're still able to make income some kind of way. But this has kind of forced everybody to take a break and kind of let your bodies rest, because, I mean, even the gyms are closed and things like that. So it's been a lot less load on my body. So the very last match that I had, I tweaked my back, and I'm still kind of feeling that a bit. So I'm hoping that kind of resolves itself before long. But, I mean, I'm hitting the ground running anywhere and everywhere I can go. My big goal for the year was to go over to the UK, but, you know, Europe restriction is banned right now, so I can't make my way over there. So, I mean, that's still high on my radar to knock out for sure. So definitely the UK. If not the UK, I'd love to figure out my way over into Japan or whatever I can do.
And it's funny you say that, because you read all these books like Daniel Bryan and Shawn Michaels and all these guys, all the independents, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, etc. I don't want to leave any guys out, but the three biggest places they always talk about where they get their careers made, in addition to the US: Japan, England, and Mexico.
Yeah.
So those three, if you can have some type of any kind of training or some kind of a good success rate in Japan, Mexico, and England, chances are statistically of these books, you're going to do well. Do you agree with that?
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah. That's why they're so high on my radar.
Is it because of their style of wrestling there? Because what I heard was like Japan has a very aggressive style, like you usually like your Nakamura. And then you have your English style, which is like really thoroughbred, like your William Regals. You got your Mexico, and of course we know with Lucha Libre with Mexico. So if you can kind of put all three of those together, it's like a nice little potpourri of gumbo pot of stuff, and you stir it all up and you get it in your resume with the US stuff. You become like a really hardcore guy, and you're a hot commodity in the business.
And that's kind of how I've been trying to kind of build my style, is have a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You know, so between brawling and then if you want to talk about the Japanese style, the strong style, it's a lot of kicks, a lot of the knees, a lot of the strikes that I throw. Outside of that, you know, your grappling and stuff for the European style, that's something that I've been trying to work with as well. So, I mean, here recently started incorporating, you know, a bit more high flying. That was kind of a harken back to my early days. But, you know, with that being so prominent now, you kind of have to keep up with the times and reincorporate it into your arsenal. So I'm definitely trying to be a mixed bag. I think they kind of called it the Stampede style back in the day, because you had Chris Jericho, you know, Bret Hart, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, at least I don't know if Eddie Guerrero went up through Stampede, but for the most part, there was a lot of that hybrid. They all worked in those different areas. So I think that's kind of what I'm seeing.
I kind of forgot about. I apologize. I forgot about Canada with the Hart family. That was a big thing too. But we're watching some video of some of your matches right now, and what we're seeing in the video is exactly what you talked about. You're showing styles like the short. You throwing the short clotheslines, those quick elbows, the spin kicks and things that sort. That's that whole combination of what you see in Japan. Plus, you got the high flying when you're going over the top rope from outside, and then of course you're also instituting the European.
There we go.
Yeah. There you go. So you see, so everything right there to me is a combination of what you learn in Japan and England and Mexico, maybe a little bit of Canada thrown in, put in the US, and you got this nice little potpourri of gumbo pot, and you got it going on. It's beautiful, beautiful to see. When you guys are not, another big thing about wrestling is if you're not seeing on TV, it's big, but also when you're not getting a chance to wrestle every day. All the books I've read, and I know you know this, so what I'm asking is, when you don't do this every day, it's not something like riding a bike. You don't do it for a while, you come back. You need to actually keep doing this, because if you don't do it for a while, you get that quote unquote ring rust, what everyone hates. What are you guys able to keep training every now and then, so getting low ring mat work in, or is it something that you're not allowed to do that either?
So for the last month, no, I haven't. Can't say I've been in the ring. I'd like to, if we can incorporate, you know, small groups or whatever is in accordance with what the CDC says, I would be 100% down for that. But as of now, no, that hasn't been anything that we've done. But the main reason, I guess, is because in the areas that I do train is basically Chalmette. So that's really close to New Orleans. That's, you know, kind of a hot spot right now. So I think we're trying to be rather safe than sorry. But having said that, like I said, I mean, I 100% would love to get back in the ring. To combat it, what have I been doing? I mean, you get in the mirror, or you just kind of start thinking, you get in your own head. you watch a lot of stuff, you write stuff down that you like, things you want to try, you try to visualize it in your mind. I mean, that's the best I can do at this point.
You know, I was they're showing a lot of. It's unusual that they're showing a lot of WWE programming on ESPN now because they're hurting for programming too. You can't do any live events, so they showed the Ric Flair 30 for 30 deal, and I hadn't seen that in a while. And I remember he actually took like he taped it. He took a thing of string, and he taped it up to a wall, and he would punch at it, and he kept going at it till he wouldn't hit it like 400 or 500 times. He'd throw at it till he wouldn't hit anymore, and that's how he would learn how to throw a punch without actually punching somebody in the jaw. So I guess you could do little things like that. You can help you practice and keep your game going, so you don't come back really. Everybody's gonna come back rusty. I know, unless you have the WWE, AEW way where you can do these things, you're gonna come back rusty. It is what it is. That's human nature. But maybe little things like this, do you agree, can help you keep your game going? Yeah.
So, I mean, I've got a punching bag set up in the backyard, so that's something that I work on too. I mean, another way, an old school way that I kind of halfway learned too was everybody has a wall somewhere. You work against the wall, and if you hurt your hand, you did it wrong.
That's a good point too. Yep. That's a great point too. But Korey, we do appreciate the time. I know you've got a lot going on right now, and WrestleMania is going to be on in, I guess, about a little under an hour or so. So we do appreciate you taking time to come out and talk to us. And is there anything that we can do to help you out? Anything you want to plug or give a shout out? Anything that we do it obviously every week, but we bringing you on. You're representing 225. We're gonna keep the mouth shut. We want to let you say what you like to say.
Yeah. So 225, we have every intent on coming back to, I want to say, Doyle High School and everywhere else. They do, as of now, everything for the rest of the year is on hold, but definitely check out Pro Wrestling 225. That's at Pro Wrestling 225 on Instagram, Pro Wrestling 225 on Facebook. Any of those, if you want to follow me. Twitter is Konstantine 225. Instagram is at Korey Konstantine, and you can find me on Facebook as well, same way. I guess to kind of, like you were talking about earlier, keep myself relevant. Been doing a little bit of different things. So whether that's, live workouts or I've done live drum sessions the last 2 days. So just, something to kind of stay on people's radar, give them some kind of entertainment, free of charge. We're all going through it. We're all looking for something to connect to. So I'm just trying to maintain that connection with the fans.
Cool.
Well, Korey, on behalf of everyone with the show, with Jack Doll, myself, we want to thank you for coming on, and we appreciate everything you've done for this business. It's folks like yourself, the champion. You didn't just get that; you earned it like everyone else did. So it's folks like yourself who go out there and make this happen. You are the future of what we see. When people turn on TNT USA and they see all these people, they think that God just spit them out. They didn't realize, they don't read the books. They don't know how these guys did the same thing you're doing now in the cars, going all the independent shows, working the small little events to get where they're at. So on behalf of us, we really want to thank you from the bottom of our heart for what you do and your colleagues, your men and women, your brotherhood, sisterhood. Thank you for all you've done. And we mean it. If there's anything we can do here from a television standpoint or logistics or anything to put you guys over during this period, even when you come back, please give us a call, because we really appreciate the indies. It's a big part of this program, and we really appreciate your time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, guys. I'll definitely be in touch.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Have a good one.
Take care.
Later.
Well, Stigma, that's a nice guy.
That brought back a lot of memories. That brought back a lot of memories for me on the radio stuff. So I didn't want to take over. So I wanted to ask if you wanted to get some in, but man, that brought back a lot of memories when I used to do back in the day. Makes me miss it a lot. But it's really good to see guys like that in the independent scene, really classy fellas, kind of getting their mind, let everybody know what they're doing, and it's just nice to know. It really is. So, thanks for getting him on. I appreciate it. I know you guys had a lot to do with getting him on, and I know the fans appreciate it, and I certainly do as well.
All right, so we're going to go back to recapping or previewing what's going to be going on with WrestleMania in the next 2 days. Let's see if Punk can get us back up. I think we were at the Edge Randy Orton match. The match they've been building up for the better part of 3 months, coming out of the Royal Rumble, when the Edge came and made his appearance. Then he got just stabbed in the back by his old buddy Randy Orton, and then we've had this thing going on for the last 2 months. That right there in a normal setting would probably be my favorite match to look forward to at WrestleMania. Like all the other ones, you have no idea how this is going to come off. Next up, you're a couple pictures ahead, Mr. Punk. But we'll jump in with whatever picture you show, Punk. We're going to jump and comment on it. So roll it. But Edge, Randy Orton match. There we go. That is a match probably going to happen tonight, early on in the night.
Probably.
Black versus Bobby Lashley. I'm not sure how much longer they're going to have that Alana part of that character. It's irrelevant.
Aleister Black's really over right now, and I'd be shocked as hell if he loses because I mean Bobby Lashley, theoretically amateur wrestling champion with Colorado, things of that sort. I mean, such a army, such a great talent. But Aleister Black, man, he's just hot as you know what right now. Like, there's just no way I can see him losing tonight or whenever he does wrestle this match.
Yep. Next one, Punk. Who do we got next? That's another one that probably should be early in the card. Elias, walk with Elias. I love that dude. Versus King Corbin. You know, I don't know what to think of that one. I like Elias, but he hasn't made that. He hasn't made the next step up to be somebody that's relevant. Then you look at it from the other side. King Corbin really hasn't done it either. So you wonder this could be a parting of the past. Whoever loses this could be, you know, mid to lower card type person. The guy who wins it could be the upper side. Who knows? Ought to be interesting. I guess they're both going to come out playing instruments. Who knows?
I'd have to go with Corbin. If you're going to have someone become your king of the ring, that's another one of those stepping stones, like the Royal Rumble winner, the Money in the Bank winner, or the King of the Ring winner. That's like a stepping stone to get somewhere. And if they had enough faith in him and enough trust and belief in Corbin to win that, there's no reason why he shouldn't win tonight or whenever they have that match. I mean, if he doesn't win it, like you said, whoever loses the match is definitely going to go back. But this match means a lot more to Corbin, I feel, than it does to Elias, because if Corbin does not win this match, being the King of the Ring, that really looks bad for him, in my opinion.
Yep. Let me see what else we got. Oh, there we got this one's been building since Valentine's Day of all days. Otis and Dolph Ziggler. That ought to be entertaining. All
I can say is last night they threw a bombshell in it because they had Fire get involved with it, where it looks like she deliberately deleted those emails or text messages rather that were sent from Otis to Desire, and we're going to see what happens with that. We're going to see what happens. It looks like they're trying to split Fire and Desire up because it looks like Otis, his text messages should have gone to Mandy Rose, but they didn't because her friend deleted them. So we'll have to see. I'm sorry, deleted them. So we'll have to see. Yeah, we'll have to see what happens with that.
Yeah, he's been deleted from their roster. But either way, next up, what we got, Punk? Which picture you got next? All right, there, Money in the Bank. That was announced this week that may have been canceled. I immediately think of that picture right there.
Mm-hmm.
He has got to be distraught. You know, WrestleMania go down like it's going down. His XFL go down like it went down. His next pay-per-view, I mean, obviously he's just doing what he has to do. I guess he'll look and see at how successful WrestleMania comes off or the feedback he gets on how it comes off before he actually decides to cancel it. But this was the headline this week that it got canceled. This is a pay-per-view, even though it's not one of the major ones. The results of this one impact all the other ones because you got the guy carrying around or the gal carrying around for weeks to come, months to come, the Money in the Bank briefcase. So
I think that pay-per-view is pretty major, Jack, because the thing is, just like you said, the Royal Rumble, the reason people love the Royal Rumble is because they element of surprise. Anybody and everybody can show up at any moment, like when Edge did and all this stuff, and it blows everybody away, okay? Money in the Bank, you can cash that briefcase at any time. The champion's in there and he gets his butt whipped or he wins a tough match and he's hurting or whatever, and then as soon as that match is over with, whoever has the belt, the briefcase can just slide right on in, and it could be at a house show, it could be at a Raw, SmackDown, or it could be like with Seth Rollins at WrestleMania in California. Any time, any place, anywhere, it could be cashed in. So I think that's a huge pay-per-view in terms of the importance to the way these storylines are going. But I have a friend of mine that lives in Orlando. He contacted me on LinkedIn Thursday, and he told me that he is really good friends with Scotty 2 Hotty, believe it or not. They're like clients. And he asked Scotty what was going on with WrestleMania, and Scotty told him that they had obviously filmed the shows tonight and tomorrow. They filmed a couple of weeks of programming, but he said that's all they've done is like maybe 2 weeks after WrestleMania. They have 2 weeks of programming in the can. After that, They don't have anything. And I asked him why, and he said because the state of Florida and the city of Orlando has, just like everybody else, they banned all this social gathering stuff. So once this, that's what I'm trying to say is once this 2-day WrestleMania is done and they got about another 2 weeks of stuff in the can for SmackDown and Raw, that's it, bro. I don't know what they're going to do after that. I don't know if they're going to just not have any programming at all, or I don't know. I mean, that's something we really want to dabble into. But since you kind of brought this up with running Money in the Bank being canceled, maybe that has something to do with it too.
Yeah, it's like the angles are all set by the crowds, pretty much. What the interaction with the
and that's why I was telling Korey. That's what I was telling Korey. You can watch wrestling, the pay-per-view. You can watch WrestleMania tonight and tomorrow all you want, okay? But the one thing that makes WrestleMania so awesome is that crowd response. When the Undertaker lost to Brock Lesnar and that dude at ringside's eyes popped up like the size of a zombie, okay? That's still being seen to this day on their little packages and stuff, okay? You're not going to have that anymore. That will not be there. And if you're stupid enough, and yeah, I said it, if you're stupid enough to pipe in crowd noise at this show tonight and tomorrow, you're going to insult every single wrestling fan on the face of the earth, because they all know, unless you were living under a rock for the past month, they know that WrestleMania has been pre-recorded. They know that. You got what you got. You work with what you got to work with. That's it. You got to make the most of what you got. But don't insult wrestling fans' intelligence by piping in crowd noise and all this stuff. Unless you could do like AEW does and have a couple guys around the ringside and make angles out of that. That's why AEW's had success with that. In my opinion, they do. But
yep.
I hope they don't do that, because that would really, really make me upset.
Yep, I'm with you. All right, guess where we're going next? Your boys on your shirt, AEW. This show, again, we've got to report once again, they win the Wednesday Night War against NXT. You remember back when it was TNT, it was Monday Night Raw and Nitro. Wasn't like Nitro won like so many weeks in a row, and then it flipped and then it just snowballed and Nitro was done. I hope that's not what's going to happen with AEW. But AEW is on a roll right now. I think this is probably like 13 or 14 weeks in a row that they beat NXT. I mean, just their content, their stories, their wrestlers to me are a whole lot more appealing. I can watch. I don't like it a lot, but I can watch the empty arenas just by the way that AEW puts it on with a couple wrestlers out there. It makes it somewhat, what's that guy going to do? What is that interaction going to be with that guy out there? Because it's almost like a different interaction from fans versus a fellow wrestler that's going to engage with a wrestler that got thrown out of the ring or whatever. So that's pretty cool. And you're like waiting to see what's going to happen. Why is he cheering that guy? Is he getting ready to turn face or heel or whatever? So it's pretty exciting the way AEW is doing it. So that's why they're continuing to win the Wednesday Night War. I think that they're actually beating them by more and more as the weeks go by.
They are.
Yeah.
They definitely are. And a friend of mine who I used to do all the wrestling stuff with back in the day on TV and radio and all his friends, John DuPont, another Plaquemine guy that I grew up with, I was chatting with him on Facebook last night, and he was telling me, because I told him I had gotten the JR book. He said he did too. So he said, who do you think does a better job on the empty arena shows, WWE or AEW? Just like you, Jack. I said, got to be AEW. He said, why? I said, well, in my opinion, they got the two best announcers in the business right now, Jim Ross, Tony Schiavone. Hey, you can say what you want, but listen to what I just said. At this moment, not Gordon Soley, not Reeser Bowden and Boyd Pierce, not those dudes are legendary and they will live forever. Okay, I'm talking about now. Right now, you got Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone, the two best in the business, in my opinion. Okay, and you got those guys. You got Cody Rhodes, who's a young and hungry guy, who's a son of probably one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, American Dream. His brother's there as well, Dustin. Okay, you got this female referee who's like really tough and gritty. WWE's trying to get like that with female refs, but this chick's like hardcore referee. Okay, and then you've got their locker room in the AEW. You can just feel the excitement when they come out there and they get this done. WWE to me right now, I said this last week, I said the week before, I'll say it again because I can, okay? Free country. They got it on cruise control. They've got their vehicle stuck on cruise control at 65 miles an hour, and they're content with that. AEW, they're fluctuating the accelerator up and down, up and down. Might not be good on gas mileage, but they're fluctuating the accelerator. They're making it happen when it needs to be. They're adjusting when it don't work out. And that's why, in my opinion, AEW right now is the better product at the moment.
Yep.
What do you think?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I definitely WWE right now, I know that I'm DVRing it, so I can go, I'll catch that later. Where
I'm the same way.
AEW, even though I'm DVRing it, I'll still like catch the beginning of it. It keeps my interest, but I got to be busy with some other stuff. So I'll
Right.
I do want to see. For some reason, I want to watch AEW live just to see how it goes off. It's on right now.
There you go. There you go. It goes back to what our Bob Ryder. I know you remember him. He used to always say he enjoyed watching the live program more than watching the pre-recorded right after on pay-per-views, because the live you just could feel it. When you're watching something live, it's a different feeling than when you're watching it's been pre-recorded. Even though you might not know what happened, it's like a mental thing. Okay, so with just like everybody else, which I really hate to say this, and I'm so sorry it happened to everybody, but everyone's hours has been cut or they've been laid off, etc. And God knows I feel for everyone because it affected me as well somewhat. But when you got more time now, you can watch it. And since got more time, I do watch AEW live now. I used to record like you, everything else, DVR it all. Now I'm watching AEW live. I'll record Raw and SmackDown, whatever. But AEW I'm watching live because I really like that element of the live, that even though it's an empty arena like everybody else, they've just bring it to the table. They've got that if factor that the other folks don't have. And I want to be a part of it.
Yep. All right, so let's run down what happened this week. Kenny Omega, he's a star at AEW. He's fighting Trent. Obviously, Omega gets the win there. Next up, you had a women's match. I mean, they're doing their best to sell the women. That's the only downfall I see right now. Continues to be week after week with AEW. The only downfall I see is the women. But you had Akira Shida versus Anna Jay. Shida gets the win there. Next up, you've got the build-up for the AEW Heavyweight Championship. I didn't know where they were going to go with this. It's kind of weird that Jericho's not getting his mandatory title defense or title rematch or whatever. So you build up from Jake Hager, John Moxley. That's actually going to happen in 2 weeks on a Wednesday night. A no-hold match. I mean, that looks to be very good. No disqualification. Yep. So I don't, when you got a guy that's a face that's the champion and they put him in a no DQ match, and knowing the background of the Inner Circle, it just seems like John Moxley may drop it that night. It would be kind of weird to give it to Jake Hager, but stranger things have happened. But, I mean, I hope John Moxley holds on to it for a while. You got to give it to him that they're going to do that in 2 weeks on a regular Wednesday night show and not a pay-per-view. I tried to find when the next AEW pay-per-view is. I guess they're kind of holding off announcing that one. The show we were going to in June got pushed back to December. So we're still excited about that show that's coming up. Got to wait a little bit longer to see it. But either way, the build-up for my interest to just watch a regular Wednesday night show or a Monday night show has been a long time coming. So I'm excited about that. What you think about that match?
Well, this guy here, he's no longer the disciple of Zeb Coulter or Dirty Dutch Mantel. It ain't the We the People no more. This guy is a totally different superstar now. He's using a lot of that MMA stuff the knowledge that he had. And Hager's become a much different person now than he ever was when he was the We the People and Zeb Coulter, Dirty Dutch stuff. I mean, no different, but Dirty Dutch is a legend. We could do a whole show on Dirty Dutch, what he means to business. But the gimmick he did in WWE with the We the People foolishness and the Jake Hager MMA guy, night and day. And I could see Jake Hager winning this match. The We the People guy, I don't think so. But Jake Hager, yeah, I could see him beating Mock. I could.
That'd be good. That's going to be exciting in 2 weeks. Next up, you had Lance Archer, the new arrival from Impact Wrestling. That guy's pretty big. Of course, he looked really big against this guy. He fought Marco Stunt from the Jurassic team. That was a squash. Somebody asked me earlier who won this match. I said the guy in purple. Not just kidding. So Lance Archer, big dude. You didn't really know who he was at the time, but he's part of Jake the Snake's dark side or whatever. Is that what he's calling his side? He's not the Dark Order. He's coming from the dark side, the darkness. Right. So that was a pretty good little showing there.
Yeah, I quit watching Impact a long time ago when all those guys left and went to WWE and things of that sort. So I never watched this guy. No disrespect on him, anything. It's just I never had seen him. But I got a chance to see it Wednesday. He's okay, but if he thinks he's going to do that to Colt Cabana, I got news for him. Not happening. Yeah. Colt Cabana is known worldwide. He and CM Punk are the pride of Chicago, Illinois. And I mean, those guys, both of them in their own right, could be in the Hall of Fame. In WWE, they probably should be. I know they're not, but they should be. And you will see what Colt Cabana can do against this guy. It's going to be a hell of a match when they do meet.
And next up, you had a new tag team premiere, the Natural Nightmares. Rhodes and who's Rhodes teaming up with now? He's teaming up with QT Marshall and
Yeah.
Brandy Rhodes is their like valet. They took on the Dark Order, two guys from Dark Order that I think are pretty much irrelevant. Well, the Natural Nightmares get the win there, and then out comes Brody Lee, the leader of the Dark Order, and he takes out two guys from his team because he didn't want to.
I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
I knew that was whenever they got beat. I said, Brody's gonna come out. He's gonna whip their ass, and he did. And you know what? They showed another vignette of Brody Lee where he was in there, and one of the guys started sleeping, and he said, "Oh, and he was doing like a presentation. And what I saying to you is that is that boring? Because you know that sleeping is a part of weakness." And he tells him to get out. Well, guess what? The week before, they did the guy that sneezed when he was eating a steak, and it ticked him off. This time, a guy sleeping, it ticks him off. You know what the funny thing about that is? Mr. Vincent K. McMahon, he cannot stand people that sleep. He cannot stand people that sneeze because he says sleeping is a weakness. And when you sneeze, that means that you're filled with bacteria and that you have a poor immune system. So both of those little things that Brody Lee did were direct parodies, if you will, at the real mentality of one Vincent Kennedy McMahon. I'm serious. You can't make this up because it's true.
Yep. That's crazy. Somebody said the Iceman Dean Malenko was his favorite as a kid. Dean Malenko.
I know that when I read Daniel Bryan's book last night, he talked about how he wanted to go to, before he went to Shawn Michaels School in San Antonio, he wanted to go to Tampa to Dean Malenko School, but he ended up going out of business. But that was his first choice because he said that he too was a big fan of Dean Malenko and the Man of 1,000 Holes. He had the 1,000 on the back of his trunks, which made Chris Jericho do the Man of 1,003 Holes. Remember that? Yeah. That was funny too. Yeah. So yeah, those are the good days. Those are the real good days.
Next up on the AEW show, the main event, you had Cody and Darby Allin versus Sammy Guevara and Shawn Perfect 10 Spears. If you remember that from WWE, he was Perfect 10, that number deal. Either way, I thought it was,
okay. Now I thought he looked familiar. He's the one that's married to one of the Iconics.
Yeah, nice. Perfect 10. Well, guess what? He's Perfect 10 because Sammy Guevara and him get the win over Darby Allin and Cody. I don't know what the deal is. Cody just continues to lose over and over again to put the other guy over.
But see, that's my point, though. That is my point. When you got a guy like Cody Rhodes that has no ego, he does not care if he wins. Look, they showed the Ric Flair thing, okay, on the 30 for 30. I hadn't seen it in a while on ESPN. One of the guys said he compared Ric Flair to Hulk Hogan. Hogan won all of his matches, but he told Flair, he said, Hogan always won his matches, but whenever you would wrestle, you seem to always get your ass kicked. And that's how he said it, okay? And Flair was like, yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be. Because when the champion goes out there and gets beat and barely wins, the next time he comes back out, more people are going to pay because they don't want to. They feel at some point the champion's going to lose, and they're going to want to see it happen. So they're going to keep paying until you lose. When Cody Rhodes goes out there and he deliberately loses a match, even though he gives 100%, that's telling me that he cares about the AEW and not Cody Runnels. And that's so much different than WCW, where it was all about, who got the money and the power. That's why it's just one of about 8 reasons why I feel that AEW is going to dominate the wrestling industry soon, because of the mentality of Cody Rhodes. They got the money mindset with the guy with the Jaguars. They've got the 2 best announcers in the business. They got that badass referee. Just the whole persona of their business, going back to Cody Rhodes and his mindset. It's the perfect storm, brother. It's the perfect storm.
Yep. Either way, well, there it goes. Sammy Guevara and Shawn Spears get the win there. And then at some point during the night, they announced I guess this is going to be the mid-level championship or whatever you want to call it. They're introducing a TNT TV championship. I guess they're calling it maybe just TNT championship or whatever.
TNT championship.
And they're going to have a tournament. There was a joke I read online where Tony Schiavone may have alluded to something after that Darby Allin match, because Darby Allin is taking on Shawn Perfect 10 Spears in this tournament, and it looks like it's going to happen in the second round, because after that match, it was like they were Tony Schiavone says, well, in the next round, Darby Allin will take it on Shawn Perfect 10 Spears. And I'm going, what? Either way, he hinted about what's going to happen next week. But that about wraps up our coverage on AEW. This week we covered WrestleMania, we covered AEW, we covered indie wrestling. We talked with Casey Konstantine, which was great guest. Good to hear from the local independents. what we want to do is continue to support them. We're ready to support them whenever they're getting ready to get back online. There he is right there.
Yeah. 225 heavy champion, Korey Konstantine, world champ.
Yeah, that's awesome since March the 1st. So either way, you got any final comments?
Like I said, man, it's a tough decision to make, and it hardens my heart to say it. But I think I'm going to kind of just phone in this WrestleMania thing tonight and tomorrow. Don't think I'm going to watch them live. I'll just watch them when I have an opportunity to. So I've never thought in my life I'd ever say that, but the product just doesn't appeal to me right now. I'm sorry. I know it's not their fault. It's unfortunate. They're not handling right. Everybody's having the same battle to fight right now, but for whatever reason, AEW is doing a better job at it, and I'm just being completely honest, and that's just how I feel.
Yep. I'm gonna watch it because I just want to see it. I may not sit there.
Oh, I'm going to watch it, but I'm not going to sit there and watch it tonight from 6 to 10 in the morning. So I'll just watch when I can, because they're going to have them all. They're already going to be preloaded anyway on the network, WWE.com or WNetwork.com. It's fine, but I'm not going to sit there like if this were a different story. You know, we would be talking about the Hall of Fame ceremony and all this other stuff and how Ring of Honor was had the indie shows and everybody being fired up about that. That's all gone now. It's all gone. Yeah. So in this, you got to deal with what you brought to the table, brother, and it ain't much.
Yeah. Either way, I'm your host, Jack Jaw. This has been great show this week. We look forward.
Hey, I want to thank you and Punk for setting up that interview, because that really brought back a lot of good memories for me back in the day. How we used to do all this stuff on the radio and the hotline reports. It was a lot of fun, and it really makes me feel that even though I'm maybe 48 years old, I still love this business, and I probably will till the day I die.
Yeah, that's good. It's good entertainment, especially at a time like right now. Producer Punk, thanks for producing the show. I'm Jack Jaw. He's a Has-Been. We are out. Look for us on YouTube. Look for us on Facebook. If you need to reach out to us for any information, you can hit us up at the Ringside Wranglers at gmail.com. That's Ringside Wranglers at gmail.com. Facebook, Periscope sometimes, our YouTube channel. Like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate it. I'm Jack Jaw.
Hey, before we leave, I want to. Here's a little thing for next week. Who does this whenever they end and start their broadcast? They always do this. Who does that?
Who was that? That was. Don't tell me that was.
LZ.
Larry Zbyszko.
You got it. Larry Zbyszko, WWE Hall of Fame legend.
Yeah, I was thinking of who was the Gordon Soley. What was his words?
I just always remember going whenever he'd be interviewing somebody and they go off on a tangent. Oh, we've heard just about enough of that, gentlemen. There's action in the ring. Let's join them. That's what I always remember him saying.
That's it. That was exactly what he did. That's it. All right. I'm your host, Jack Jaw. We're out. Thanks again. Ringside Wrangler Wrestling Report. Woo!